Hi. So the first question I'm going to ask is just introduce yourselves and the title of your piece.
Right. Thanks, Sammy. My name is Claire, and I go by the alias Rubarcode. And I'm a student at the RCA of Visual Communication with my friend and co-worker Wenhui.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Wenhui, and my artist name is Untitled-egg. And right now I'm also studying Royal College of Art, Visual Communication. And currently I'm interested in the gamification. Yeah, thanks.
And your piece is called Post Destination Cyber Identity?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sorry.
No problem. And where are you calling in from?
From the UK, for both of us.
Hmm. And so I know this piece was actually finished like this week, right?
It's funny you say that. So this is a work from last year, from a project we did with the university called Diffracted Sensibilities. But we've also just completed a project last week called New Rendezvous Street with our friend Xantfi Horner as well, which is a collection of many artists' works. I mean, we could show you that as well if there's time at all, but
Yeah, we only have an hour, so I think we should probably just stick to this one. But it's
okay.
Nice that you have multiple pieces in the festival. You're the second artist who I've spoken to who have multiple of them. So tell me more. So you made this piece last year. Tell me more about the process of making it.
So it started off with us both being quite lost. I think AI, procedurally generated imagery, had just become mainstream, and it was very uncertain, that realm. I mean, it still is ethically. And we were kind of messing around with creating made up characters from it, and we realized that there was this whole kind of mystery around it, and I think we wanted to pop the bubble of that a little bit, and have fun with it as well. And we're also combining that with Wenhui was going out and getting scans on her phone of the streets.
Yeah, actually we start as a dialogue because at the beginning I have such like negative attitude with AI, and Claire, actually she didn't mention she's positive or negative. Then we have such an interesting dialogue, and we thinking through making to start our project. Yeah.
That's wonderful. We've had a lot of pieces in this show that are kind of trying to critically engage AI, and a lot of them kind of came before the whole like DALL-E revolution.
Yeah.
And so I guess you were in university when this piece was made. Have y'all graduated since then?
We're still on the course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of the questions that's kind of like on my list is like, what was your practice like before the pandemic? Because many of us kind of came into New Art City and virtual space because of the pandemic. So like, are y'all like a product of like Zoom school? Did you begin university during the pandemic?
Yeah, we did. To be honest, it was it suited my practice quite well. I mean, the pandemic was difficult for everyone, but I felt particularly sorry for people with studios and having to make sculpture or people interactive centered works. So the transition from that to the screen was wasn't so incongruent for me. But I like the idea of adapting through artwork. So it made sense. What about for you, Wenhui?
Actually, I didn't know New York City before last year, but when I knew that, I think right now it's my favorite website because I'm gonna thinking move my graduate work to New York City as my plan, because I think whatever is pandemic or post-pandemic, if you want to have your own space to show your work, actually you don't have the full, how can I say, permission, because you want to show something in a real physical exhibition, you're gonna thinking about your cost and the location and the audience and something, and the advertiser or something. But if you are in New York City, it's like a freedom space. It's really good. Yeah.
I love to hear that. So I suppose y'all have not shown in other virtual spaces before, or have you worked in other virtual spaces since working with New Art City?
Nothing 3D personally, not to the same kind of potentials of New Art City, but we were both making digital artwork before then. It was sort of, we'd make it using the various software that was available to us, and you know, the platforms that we had posted on would be online exhibitions at best that might showcase this. If not, you know, we'd make it anyway and post it on sort of our social media channels, or yeah, I've got this NeoCities website as well, which is eternally in construction.
Yeah, my site is also on
Yeah.
NeoCities. I love it.
Yeah.
But this was a first.
And so
Yeah,
you
me
made
too.
this piece last year, and how long had it been since you'd returned? But like between making it and like the festival this year?
Just under a year.
And how does it feel to come back to this world that you like inhabited?
I think personally it was easier. I think once you've got the understanding of a place and how it works, and seeing that there were more features as well, it was a bit like coming back home.
Yeah.
And how did it feel to do the accessibility, like alt text writing stuff?
You just have to be, as we've just had the experience of doing the alt text for the Alpha Festival, but we've not uploaded the alt text for this one yet, sadly. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's totally fine. This is access work too.
Yeah.
And it's also preservation work. So the last question I have for you before we switch gears is, how do you approach archiving in your practices? Do you return to old assets frequently, either in a personal sense or to recycle them, or do you sort of leave the past in the past?
I'm going to let Wenhui go first.
Can you ask the question again? Sorry.
Sure, no problem. How do you approach archiving in your practice? Like, do you return to old files? Do you recycle old files, or do you just kind of leave the things that are finished in the past?
I think I'm the last one, just leave the things at the finish in the past. Yeah. Yeah. But I think works in New York City is like the works has their own world. It's like our project is living in that space, because actually the post destination, we make a lot of creatures. Actually, it's really like they really have their own life. Yeah, like human beings living in the space. Yeah.
I would find I generally leave stuff in the past, but this was the one project where I would recycle it in the future, which is now the past. So
the future past.
time time will never be normal. And yeah, I reused some of the creatures in this for a future project, now past project, in Unreal Engine. And I wanted to do that because I think my perspective on them had changed a bit. So I wanted to show a different side of these creatures, and just building on their almost kind of storytelling capabilities. What happens when you put them in a different environment?
Yeah, they're like game assets, and they're like portable between worlds. That's interesting. Or like, how do you feel about working with Unreal as it compares to New Art City?
I can speak for Wenhui as well with this, and that we both find it really quite frustrating.
Yeah, I think Unreal is really hard to use, to be honest, because the blueprint and a lot of function, actually the function is hiding in the blueprint or something. But for New Art City, I think it's like a artificial Unreal. Yeah, it's really good because if you want to change the fog in Unreal, you need to change different type of fog. But in New Art City, you just need to through the options to setting that. Yeah,
Much more accessible.
Yeah.
And that allows for more creative freedom as well. You're not kind of restricted by the esoteric demands of the original Unreal. But we didn't let it put us off.
It's definitely, yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of like it's like a push and pull, that like you can do all of this wild like real-time simulation and stuff with Unreal, and like none of this at all is possible in New Art City, but I feel like the constraints can be pretty inspiring.
Yeah, restriction can allow for creativity, but I think with Unreal you can be so bogged down by trying to realize just one very simple idea that much of the time it does feel like just a hindrance, really.
Yeah,
totally. So that was my last question on that side, so I'm going to switch to sharing my screen.
Post-destination initially began with us both being lost. Our resolve was to make, then consolidate. After some time, I had a veritable menagerie of wonky-looking creatures from AI-generated imagery. Untitled-egg had a collection of 3D scans of a road in Fulham, and herself in various quasi-religious poses, using her devices as if they were sacred ceremonial objects for prayer. When we consolidated these designs, we found ourselves in the world we call post-destination. We imagined ourselves falling into this world via a postbox, due to our naivety in fully trusting Google directions. Interestingly enough, naivety is a word derived from the Latin word nativus, meaning native or natural. Upon arrival, we find ourselves in the same street, which is now occupied by AI creatures amidst humans worshipping devices architecture. This provoked questions, such as the following: is this world a hidden layer of reality we couldn't see before? Are the AI creatures good or bad? Do we have any agency? Are these worshippers real people or statues? Who are the ugly children? And why are there so many hamsters? However, these questions became irrelevant as, like dreams, their value rested in their lack of quantifiable logic and straightforward answers. We embraced an anti-didactic approach as we fought through making, following the unexpected paths that the rabbit hole in the postbox took us down. And the bit below that is Wenhui's text. if you're happy to read, Wenhui.
Yeah, our world is neither utopia or dystopia, serving as a liminal crack between the virtual and real. We named it post-destination, raising issues for the destination of Google and the destination of our society. What will the future look like? There is no answer now. What is the relationship between humans and AI? Unknown. We are trying to establish concern for the entanglement between humans and no-humans, the ethic of artificial intelligence. We find ourselves increasingly dependent on AI and algorithm. Invisibly, we have become emotionally attached to them. We should find a healthy way to live with AI, even if the AI has its own consciousness. It is easy to be afraid of AI, but we neglect to think, may they be afraid of us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing these creatures. I see the 3D scan of the road that we're standing on, and it's also floating way above us in the sky. There are a bunch of these like rotating AI creatures. I see a scary blobby man with like a really thick neck and like a military helmet. I think he's holding 2 guns. Did he kill this other figure that's laying on the ground?
I never thought of those hands being guns, but yeah, I suppose he has killed him. Yes, that is, you've guessed well. He's
Finger guns.
yeah.
Yeah, and all of these like little photo things, I guess those were kind of like shop front windows. It says like celebrating 10 years, qualified to advise.
Yes.
And then we have a video render over here through one of the shop windows. And it looks kind of like a render of the scene that we're already in, but it's maybe like the camera distance is weird, like it kind of is in focus in the center and then it warps outward on the outside. The zoom is very uncanny.
Yeah, it was is it the aspect ratio? Is it that? No, it's not. I've forgotten the word for the distance of the lens. But yeah,
I think it's focal length, isn't it?
Focal length, yes. That's it.
Very chaotic. So where should I go next? I see the post box over here, the red post box under the glitchy text post destination. There's a floating blob above me. It looks
the love
it has
fish.
like a Pokemon character. Oh, it's a fish. Yeah, it has like it looks almost like a cuttlefish, and it has these nice little like oranges and greens.
That was the prompt for that fish was Christmas stocking combined with fish.
And you generated 3D models with AI?
Yeah, no, the 3D models were self-done. We used a program called Monster Mash to do it, which is in browser, and the whole point of this was to just keeping it transparent to show people how accessible and easy it was, and dumb too. Because I think at that point there was a lot of mystique around it. People didn't know how these processes work, so we aim to be just transparent with it. And the love fish was where I stopped as well. It was at that point I realized the creativity lay in the prompts. Christmas stocking with fish. And I've not touched AI since. AI anonymous.
This is your last AI.
Yeah. And that was my it's quite bittersweet because it's that's like the representation of what I want to do with art in many ways, and also is quite a sentimental thing. But it's, in the end, it's something that's almost quite flippant and isn't my own as well.
Yeah, it's a collaboration.
Yeah. Oh, just the fish is how I feel about it. The collaboration itself is really meaningful.
Going towards the post box. Ooh, and I see a 3D scan rotating through a copy of itself. Wenhui, is this you sitting at your
Yeah.
laptop? And there's your laptop sitting on the ground, and there you're like, it looks like there's a laptop on.
Yeah.
It's called God
Yeah,
of
I think
Computering.
yes, I think I think I create some digital double. It's from me, but I think it's not me actually. I think in this world, this is like a god, but also like a human vessel because you can't talk with these human beings anymore. Yeah, and those four gods, they are using laptop, iPad, iPhone, and doing the worship actions. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Or it's like the sort of fallacy that your avatar is yourself. It's like, no, the body breathes. This is like non-interactable.
Yeah.
It looks like when they're both rotating, like the first one rotates back into itself, and then the next one begins to rotate. But I think that might be an optical illusion.
Yeah, I think sometimes I got some illusion with this rotating.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
These are the sort of edgelands of this place.
Northland
Yeah.
Road sign, with all the sort of polygons kind of
Yeah.
mashed up. It looks, and then oh, I see. There's another computer god up there, like
Yeah.
on hands and knees, crouching in front of an iPhone. Oh, it's an iPad. God of
Yeah, it's a
iPad.
crushed iPad. Yeah.
On like a wooden floor.
Yeah. Also, I made some like dust texture on this 3D scanner because I want to make it more like a fossil. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and I like how the polygons start to break up around the edges. It's like
Mm.
a really,
Yeah.
it's a very photogrammetry type effect.
Yeah, there's that's a restriction of New Art City, in that we have to crunch it down to fit the low memories, but it ended up being really creative because we thought, let's see how much we can break this mesh
Yeah.
until it's just recognizable.
Definitely the like model optimization is something I've talked a lot about in these tours. Is this a strawberry? This little guy?
It could be. It's enough of fish Christmas stocking, I think.
Has one big eye with a little white paint splotch eyebrow, and it's mostly red, and it is in kind of a strawberry shape with like a green kind of stem on the top. But I guess now I'm looking at it head on because I can see it's mirrored, that it has eyes on either side of it. But from one side, it looks like a little face.
Mm.
We have another fish Christmas stocking over here. This has more of like a clownfish kind of palette, I think. Has more like blobby protuberances. Looks like there's like a gray hand with a mitten coming off of it. It's in like kind of burnt oranges with these little bubbles on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we were definitely I mean, this is the contrasts the architectural, like fossil type landscape, because it's just these sort of biomorphic, ridiculous forms that are existing.
Totally. Okay, I'm going back towards the post box. We've been over here.
Yeah, we've It's kind of if you go 180,
yeah.
and there's kind of two more routes going past the film.
There's another god of computing sitting on like a pile of blankets,
Yeah.
holding a laptop up in front of them. And there is one of the fish creatures. That one looks more like that looks very fossil. It looks like kind of like a seashell or something.
It's a hamster. I see what you mean about a seashell though.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to like see how much my visual descriptions match up with the intention or don't. Oh, I see a couple more hamsters that look much more hamster-like next to it. One of them looks kind of like that sad cat meme. It's like with like the super watery eyes. It's like a white.
Yeah. It does. I know what you mean.
And I see the closed MacBook with the iPhone on top of it, also sitting in the bed.
We wanted the placement of that to be in front of the film, because it's so tempting when you're watching a film to just get out your laptop and start researching the film on Wikipedia.
Oh, I love that the god is facing the screen or facing its own screen and the other screen and ignoring the film.
I like Wenhui's face on that one.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
really make
way
out
that
your features.
photogrammetry does faces is so funny. It's really like PS2, even in the best of circumstances.
Yeah, I love that. And it's sad because I think photogrammetry is going to get better, isn't it? And more, quote, realistic.
Yeah. Whenever I try to get a realistic scan, I fail still, luckily.
That's good.
We've got the kebab shop. Yeah, the kebab shop window has the glitchy pictures of the food, but then it kind of disappears after that. This glass looks really cool. It's very like it has a lot of kind of triangles. It's very like icy, crystally.
Yeah. This store calls Sunny actually.
It's harder to scan things in on a really sunny day.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how light can interfere with them. Yeah. Le café des hamsters.
Oh, you read it well. This was not kind of premeditated. It was more responding to seeing those chairs in the scan and thinking we can put some hamsters on there.
I did not even recognize these chairs as chairs, but I can see, yeah, these like little purple petals both facing this flat surface. I can now kind of recognize them as chairs. And you have these like weird stalactites underneath that must be the legs of the chairs. It must be like those Eames shell chairs, right? With the like wooden legs.
Oh yeah, they're hamsters of class.
3 strange hamsters floating above it. This one looks very much like remember the old Deep Dream like dogs from that must have been from like 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You have a potted tree. Another fish.
That one is a girl, actually. I know what you mean. It does look like a fish. I guess this is my kind of aesthetic, but that one emerged with. I forgot to say the AI program we used was Artbreeder at the time. It was before DAL, and it's really just like a hacked down version of it. And I remember checking the homepage for it. And I'd made all my hamsters and everything, and I checked the homepage for it, and I just noticed the only thing that people are making is just like conventionally attractive women's faces. And it was just like millions of these images, anime, and it was so gratuitous that I thought, well, what happens if I keep ramming up the dial for a female face? So I would redo it again and again and again, and that's what happened. That's the result of it. And I thought, well, that must be the ultimate female attractive face.
I mean, it's really funny because it's like it's very blobby. Like there's this kind of like mushroom shape on top, and then it has kind of like a stocking foot on the bottom, and there's this kind of like pale white skin tone going around the edges, and then there's a lot of like red. It's very painterly.
Yeah.
And it kind of stretches around. I can see it. It's like from this direction, it almost looks like a dog's snout, but then in the back, there's like another bulbous part coming off, almost like a ponytail. But I love that this was, or like hearing more about it conceptually is like it really adds a lot to it for me.
I see a face there as well.
Yeah.
Very attractive. We were looking at some paintings as well, actually, when we started. We were looking at the Japanese painter Itsumi Kato and the British painter Francis Bacon. Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
I love that mashup. We have another spinning computer god up here sitting on the laptop, or is that an iPad?
Is that
Sitting,
iPhone?
sitting cross-legged, and then there's an iPhone sitting up in front of it, but I can't tell what it's sitting on. It's sitting on this kind of like floating blob. Then we have another one on the other side of the road.
Yeah, but this one is full of like blood.
Yeah, most of the texture, or like a lot of it, is kind of whited out, and it's floating above us, so it's kind of hard to get into it and see it. It's rotating quickly, so it's always kind of just out of reach, and there are a lot of these like white cracked patterns on it, almost like cracked plaster. Like half of the body is whited out, kind of like inside of it now. And like the closer you get, the harder it is to tell what it's supposed to be, but you can only get these little snatches of it, like holding a laptop in front of them. Oh yeah, there's a good view.
Like Ash. I always think that red part on the top of the head is lipstick.
I was seeing lipstick too, yeah. And the face is like really elongated out in front, and the hair is like pushed really far back.
Yeah.
So on like the left side, or on the right side of it, it's this plaster texture, and then there's a little lipstick on it, and then on the left side, you can see the god wearing the green t-shirt, and you can see the iPhone next to it.
Did you ever notice the lipstick or think of that Wenhui? Because we realized I'd never pointed that out.
No, I think this is my first time mentioned this lipstick scene. Actually, the green t-shirt, I think there's some words. It's I'm a psycho, and the character is holding an echo and smoking on my green t-shirt.
Oh, I love that. I mean, it's interesting because when I see kind of like a representation of a person who seems like the artist in the space, I kind of make the logical assumption that it's you, but multiple times it's like, no, this is a character, this is an avatar, this is an individual. I think that's really interesting. Ooh, and I see there's text in the sky.
Yeah, it's I don't think anyone, or we would expect anyone to read it in this fashion. We can always send people the story if they want, but this is the the story that goes along with this world, and how the person encountered this world,
and
and
you can
their
put the text in the catalog as well. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah,
it looks pretty fun.
it's a short story.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
go
I really
right
like how
as well.
interdisciplinary it is, that you have these experiments along with films, along with sound, along with writing, that it's really like cohesive.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it's hard to just stay to one medium, I think.
Yeah, could never do such a thing. Is there anything that I haven't touched on?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think there was one more street. So if you're able to find your way back to the hamster cafe with the girl at the end, you're going in the right direction. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boing.
If I had more time, I would pay more attention to the sound, I think.
Makes sense. Having any sound is helpful.
I think it's turn left.
Oh yeah.
And go straight. Yeah. The fog is heavy.
Yeah, I'm seeing some like floating low poly shapes that almost look like they're pulled off of a building or like the street. I can see the like street lines on it. Now the floor feels glassy as well. Oh, now we're passing the hamsters again. Wait, did I go the wrong way?
Just here.
Oh no, this is Cafe des Artistes. Okay.
Yeah.
And these children's faces are projected onto these spheres.
Yeah.
So we wanted our own
I suppose
cafe.
these are the artists.
Yeah. Many years ago.
Yeah, if you look up, there's another street lying on the sky. Yeah. Like upside down. I think that's it. Yeah, that's everything.
I think so, yeah.
Claire is like baring their teeth in a very childlike way, and Wenhui is smiling and missing one tooth.
Wenhui is cute. I look like a demon.
Well, I suppose it's fitting to end in Cafe des Artistes.
That's good.
I think so.
Is there anything else you want to add before I finish recording?
Should we show the film or not, Claire?
I mean,
should we? Yeah.
I think the audience have seen that there's a glimpse of the film, but they're welcome to check out the full thing if they've got the patience.
Okay. Cool.